All right, I see we got my old pal Spocko on the line. Hey, Spocko.
Hi, and today is time for the Twitter Roundup.
Oh, so last night at apparently 5 o'clock, Twitter, Elon Musk had issued this ultimatum by way of a memo saying either you're going to get with the program, which means you're going to work your asses off. It's going to be, I don't have it in front of me, so I'm paraphrasing. No remote working. You're going to come in the office. You're going to be there 40 hours a week and then weekends and nights. And if you don't want to do it, you can leave and take 3 months severance. And just about everybody said, okay, we'll take the 3 months severance, to the point where Twitter is now, the headquarters, the building is shuttered. So even the people who still work there can't get in. It's locked down because Elmo's afraid someone's going to sabotage it.
I was thinking having a parody song would be something like by the Beach Boys. And we had fun till Elon Musk took our T-Bird away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the latest bits about that for the news is that 1,200 people resigned after his latest. You got to be hardcore. We said you got to come in, and they resigned. And then they had oh great, those are actually people who could make things work. And so he softened it, and he said, well, if your manager says that you're doing excellent work remotely, then you can come in. And then when that came out, then he had to go back and say, be hardcore again, which was and if the manager's lying, they'll be fired. So the other latest news is he announced that he has reinstated Kathy Griffin,
Yes.
Babylon Bee, and Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
But he hasn't decided on Trump yet.
But look, I admit that my brain works in weird ways sometimes. I don't, this Elmo guy, I do not get at all.
Well, I have, and I think I've said before, I have experience working with him specifically and Silicon Valley in mindset. And I'm seeing this, and there's the big kind of point that I see from this is he's going through the exact same, view of the importance of what is, moderation and speech on a platform like this. Someone called it a speed run. He's going through all the mistakes and the decisions that have been made over years. And there was a good piece in the New York Times by the former head of trust and safety at Twitter,
right?
Who just resigned yesterday as well.
That's right.
And they had created a platform that dealt with a lot of the issues. And one of the big issues was that I care about was harassment and, violent speech and things like that. And then when he looked at how Musk looked at the world, which is basically, hey, I'm the decider, I'm the arbitrator. He said, if you're going to be the one to decide, then we don't need policies. Okay. It's all up to you. And this is going to come down to how he views this. And the other thing, with his letting people go, he's got the typical Silicon Valley engineer mindset where he's asking people, print out your code and show me how the code works. Well, this is really right now, it's about policy and people. I mean, what is your policy about threatening violence, inciting violence? I mean, that was what got Trump kicked off. Is that still in line?
Yeah.
And he's also, the other thing is, this is this kind of juvenile, kind of snarky troll attitude that we had seen it from the Twitter people. And I also say this is this kind of ego. When you get this huge, as people do, what will influence you? It's kind of like, hey, I'm the richest man in the world. What can you tell me? He has that attitude. And I've worked with these people. Like I said, I've media trained the Sergey Brin, Larry Page, Sheryl Sandberg. I work with these people on the way up where they actually, at that point, they do listen to people. And here is Musk ignoring all of the people who are saying, you're going to lose all of this revenue if you don't make it safe. And so he's come along and he said, all right, well, I don't need these people. It's all about the code. And so his latest thing was that he had people do a screenshot of, the code that you would do. And he said, fly into San Francisco. And the line was, the reason that nobody could get in the building was because the guy who had the badges for authorization laid off.
Right. Although I heard that was a spoof account. I heard that wasn't a real tweeter. But so the thing is, all the lines of reality are blurred. You don't know what's real and what isn't.
Right. And that's and this is the disinformation part of the disinformation problem. And I've said before, and I was on Matt Binder's show talking about the group that I really like right now is the Center for Countering Digital Hate. And he said, this is in his definition of speech doesn't include abuse and hatred. And this is something that has to be due. And disinformation is a big part of it. Well, if he's the only one who decides what disinformation is, it's going to be a big problem. And the reason that he lost all of the advertisers had to do with that, is it really Eli Lilly?
Right.
And,
right.
Eli Lilly, their stock dropped 4.37%. It cost them billions in revenue because he didn't have a policy to deal with disinformation and impersonation.
Right. And he still doesn't.
He's planning, the latest thing is he's planning on bringing back Twitter Blue in November 29th. And the reason that he does this in terms of, and this is the other thing I'm saying about the Silicon Valley mindset that I see, where they try this and they don't listen to people and they try it, and then they they see the huge disaster and then they pull back and say, oh, it'll be a iteration. It's like a product iteration. What he doesn't see is that there are other forces that are driving him in certain way. I mean, that drive the need for revenue. And he's, ignoring them because he thinks, well, I can get money from Twitter Blue. The other big things that I really liked, and I think I mentioned it last time, was that Senator Ed Markey pointed out to him that he is under an FTC consent decree because of privacy violations. And the privacy violations where they actually would do something, they did something about that to Facebook, cost them $5 billion. But he also is not paying attention to the global things about Twitter. I mean, we look at Twitter just from like this U.S. perspective. Right. But they've had big problems in other countries where they actually have to follow the laws, like because of some of the German laws. And the one that is kind of new to me was kind of how things happen in other countries like India, where it is a way that the other countries, they try and use Twitter and in a way, and they would threaten Twitter employees if they don't do certain things. So he has ignored a lot of tools and procedures that have been developed over the years that help make it worthwhile. And he goes back to this. I mean, do you see the tweet where he said, vote Republican because we need kind of like this split house? This is juvenile thinking that is not developed based on what has been happening over the last 10 years. It's like, no, the Republicans are intimidators and they're threatening. Now, think about what would happen if and when Trump comes back to Twitter.
Oh, God. No, I don't want to.
What's going to stop him? What's going to stop him?
Nothing. Nothing. Here's the thing. When Marcy Wheeler was on the show the other day, what she said is, I'd take Twitter off my phone because the people who safeguarded all the safety things aren't
Privacy,
there
right.
anymore. There's nobody there anymore.
Yes, and they're massively hackable right now because I follow this. And by the way, Laffy and I are on Mastodon. I'm there as Spocko at Mastodon at Spocko at Mastodon.online.
When
and I'm sure
I'm
we'll put you there.
at Nicole Sandler at MSTDON or MSTDN dot social. It's also confusing. I'm on there, but I don't get it. Maybe this is the old person in me. I'm just, and I'm pretty tech savvy.
You are. You're very tech savvy.
But I just don't. I get lost with those, with Mastodon especially, because there's all these different servers and I don't know how they connect, and I hope Twitter survives because I'm used to it.
And Kara Swisher did a piece, and she said, they'll still be around. They still have power because a lot of people are there, and they'll look for other platforms. But it is the reason that I think this is important is it points out how we are in a position where one incredibly wealthy person has the ability to take over something and impose his idea of the rules and pretending like the rest of the rules don't matter. And the way that the market is showing him that, these do matter is like the advertisers leave and there goes 90% of his revenue. And what I pointed out the other day is there are some problems, other problems in social media that haven't been fixed, but Facebook figured out a way to be profitable and still allow harm. And they should be something.
They should be broken up. But here's the thing, Facebook, I resisted for so long and understood that, it sucks and Zuckerberg sucks. But I'll tell you something, Facebook, as does Twitter, they both perform a really useful function.
Yes.
For me, Facebook is where I reconnected with my old friends from New York. My family moved to Florida from New York on the last day of 6th grade. I reconnected with elementary school friends. How weird is that? Then now I reconnected with high school friends who are, I went to high school in this area in South Florida, but I moved away for so many years. I didn't keep in touch. I kept in touch with 2 people. So I've kept in touch with them, and my entire, my work, private life overlap in Los Angeles. Everybody, because we're old, we're on Facebook. Facebook is for old people, and that's fine. I understand all the kids go to Instagram. I'm not really cool on the Instagram thing. I kind of use it, but I don't really do it.
It's TikTok. That's where all the kids are on TikTok.
I don't go to TikTok. I'm not a TikToker. I'm
You'd
old.
be a great TikToker. You'd dance and sing. It'd be great.
Yeah. No. It wouldn't be, but just saying, so I've embraced Facebook for what it is, that it's a way to reconnect or to stay in touch with people that I've known forever, industry people that I've lost touch with. So it serves its purpose. Twitter has been great for me for news, for getting, guests on the show, for breaking news, because if I waited for the breaking news emails to hit my inbox, they'd already been on Twitter for 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
And so I will miss
that's going
that.
to be the thing. If you want to recreate in Mastodon or other places, is going to be the feed with some of the same journalists that you normally follow. I think that's what will be, coming up and up soon.
Yep. Well, and there's a lot. And one of the servers on Mastodon is like a journo host or something like that. And a lot of journalists are on that one, but they all interchange. So, I'm on the MSTDN.social one, but it's okay because they all talk to each other, which I just don't understand.
It's like somebody was describing it as like, neighborhoods in which they are all part of in a city.
Oh,
and I thought that was
interesting.
Kind of a way to look at
Yeah. There are, and people, they're very welcoming over there. And there are a number of people who will come into your stream or whatever it is and say, Here I've written a primer, a good introduction to mass it, but it's too much work. I just want to go on and post and read. I don't want to read a whole instruction manual to do a social media network.
Yeah. I always wonder about some of these things, that the long tail, as they say, the way that people have gone into this. Every time that there's a new social media platform, people would move from, we were talking about Dig, that used to be the big thing,
yeah.
or how that went away. You got to go new things. Would there be things that you liked about the other one and things you didn't like about it that, can we take the good things and not forget the reasons that there were problems with Twitter? And this is a thing about, again, Mastodon and these people, they have moderation policies, they have terms and service, but it's going to be difficult for them to start scaling and developing it. And it's an opportunity for, creeps to, come in and start hacking and doing these people. So that's the reason why, if Twitter gets better, and I was asking people the other day, do you want Twitter to be fixed?
Yeah.
And
I want Elon to leave.
To leave, because he is the problem. And my friend Angelo Carson at Media Matters, he was part of the group. It was a bunch of them, Color of Change, Free Press, Media Matters.
And Angelo was at Stop Beck when I first met him. He was a college student, a law school student, tweeting, and he really put it over the top. He got Glenn Beck taken off of Fox. Yeah,
and I helped. He followed kind of the things that I did with White Ring Radio.
Yep.
And one of the things that he knew about Twitter was it was a public-facing thing that other people could see it, whereas when I use emails and call people, they couldn't see it. And that's the benefit of Twitter, is that not only the company like Beck can see it, but other people can see it and say, hey, there's a problem here.
Yep.
And I think that the steps that they took, where they told all the advertisers, hey, it's not just Twitter. If they kept their good policies and enforcement, it's Elon Musk. And he tweeted out something where Merrill Lynch came back on the platform. And I don't know if they had left or not. And he said, here's Elon Musk doing something really stupid. You're supposed to be a financial services company, and you just had Elon Musk cause the stock price of Elon Lilly to drop by billions. Is that very fiscally, conservative, that you're advertising on a space that could cause your portfolios to drop?
Yep.
It's kind of reminding these people who left. It's like, there was a reason that they had these policies. Musk has his own definitions, which are juvenile and wrong, that need to be brought back. That's what needs to happen. And
Spocko?
Everybody says, well, what do you think he's going to do? And it's going to be, if he cares about trying to get the money back, or he'll try and get out from CEO or whatever. Those are the various different tricks you do. What do we want? I would like some of the same good things about Twitter to
come
stay.
back. Right. And him to just shut the fuck up and go. He said he's going to hire someone. Do it. Hire somebody to run the company and get the hell out of there. By the way, breaking news. Disgraced blood startup founder Elizabeth Holmes was sentenced to more than 11 years in prison for misleading investors. I frankly think she should have been sentenced to more than that, but okay, 11 years. Good start.
That's great to hear. Yep. It's always good to know when that happens. So,
all right. Hey, Spocko, we're getting to the end of the hour. I'm going to run. Thank you for all your input, for great information. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Talk to you later.
From San Francisco.
Bye. That is Spocko, everybody. I know it says in the chat room, and when he posts it says Michael Spocko. I don't think his name is Michael. He's just Spocko.